Good morning, Ron here. Uh, in the last day, I've had a series of questions from one course member regarding pivots, and he's having a lot of difficulty understanding it. Okay, there are different ways of looking at pivots. One is questioning whether these extremes here, for example, are also pivots on a weekly. And let's take a look real quick. And so what we can see here is that these here, these daily pivots, are also pivots or reversal points on a weekly chart. Okay, so what we've done is we put W's underneath where there was a weekly pivot, and let's pop it open to daily. Okay, so we can see here the corresponding daily points. Now, the advantage of this theory is that you look at weekly pivots. However, what's missing very often are the intraday swings, which are also important, or the daily swings rather. So let's take a look at that. And what I typically like to look at, especially in Forex, are min 1 pivots. And these I find extremely useful. Here's an example of drawing a median line with 3 min 1 pivots. Okay. So you have a low, a high, and a low. And look, there's a minimum of 1 bar in between the high and the low. And this sometimes you have to look real closely. For example, this here, let's take a look. The high on this day was 12 and a quarter, a half. This day 12 and a half. So technically, this here, for example, this little thing in here was also a min 1 pivot. And we can see that prices zoomed through the median line in the far parallel and came back down, made a new low. And if you look at it closely, you'd see you have an EP in here, for example, right? Remember, you can draw a line from here to here and from here to here. Okay. So those are your min ones. The other kinds of pivots I look at are majors, and majors are usually have a couple of min ones or more in between, and so, for example, if I was, I could technically, let me see, yeah, from that point of view, I could use this one here. Okay, but I think that the one that's relevant is really this one here. And remember, the purpose of the median line is primarily to show you what the trend is. And it can also be useful in generating signals, and because quite often prices will make it to the median line, especially the bigger ones. And it's a good reference model for that. Anyway, the pivots are kind of important. They take a while to figure out. Here, for example, is what I call a min 0 pivot. Low, high, low. Now notice that there's just no bars in between the high and the low. Andrews would call these micro pivots. Okay. Now where's an exception? Well, let's take a look, see if we can find a nice exception to the rule. Okay, here we go. Andrews also talked about the idea that gaps were pivots. Well, here's a nice example. We go from this low here to here, and notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 pivots really here when you look at it. And this is because we have some rather significant gaps. And utilizing gap theory doesn't happen very often, but it does. Counting gaps, as I mentioned to a good friend of mine, is just like counting bananas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what you'll find is very often is that the move itself will be done after you have two good sized gaps, as long as there's something else to confirm it. Let's, for example, in this situation here, we were looking at this being a possible, was this a possible EP? No. I think I was looking at that elsewhere in the Dow at the time, but you can see that prices went nicely up to the 3P line before they reversed, or to the 2P line rather, forming a 3P. So this is just to give you a quick overview on pivots, just a quick refresher. See, let's take a look at some more min ones. Low, high, low. It's a min one. Micro, 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 or min zero. Min one. Let's take a look at something. Oh. Yep, min one, min one, min zero, min zero, min one, min one, min one, min one. So what I generally do is look for min one pivots, and in stocks or stock related items, what you'll find is quite often that min threes are extremely useful. Let's take a look at min threes. Min threes, we simply have a minimum of 3 bars in between each high and each low. So it'd be this low here and this high here. This high here and this low here. And this high here. Okay. And notice please that there are at least 3 bars in between the high and the low. Whenever you have a min 3 correction, be sure to take an extra look, like we had here yesterday. I sent out a chart here yesterday about this. Be sure to take an extra look at the possibility that this correction is over. So let's draw the ML for here. Now in this case, the min 3 and the min 1 are both one and the same. See, prices went up to the ML, closed beyond it last week, and today yesterday just kind of went up and tried, but boom. Okay. It's not unusual in a correction to have one close beyond the ML, and that's all it can do, and then she goes the other way. Anyway, this is for course members only. I thank you very much. See you next time.